ever wish your day wasn't dictated by your health? Are you tired of being tired all the time, or is pain holding you back from enjoying your time with your family? Would you like to manage your symptoms holistically, but you just don't know where to begin? I am so excited that you're here. This podcast will help you understand how natural remedies work so you can relieve your symptoms and live a fuller life. My name is Penny. I'm an occupational therapist, past pharmaceutical rep, a mom, and a wife with a strong faith, and for 25 years, I battled through debilitating Crohn's disease. I took all the medicine and did all the surgeries that stole so much time with my family, but never truly healed me. I finally realized if I was going to survive this disease, I needed to open my stubborn eyes to alternative solutions. I researched how perfectly our bodies work with plants and a lifestyle that made my health less of a burden to my family and aligned so beautifully with my faith and my medical training. If you're ready to reclaim your life with holistic options that are easy to implement as a busy mom and provide relief that lasts, this is the podcast for you. Hello, friends. Welcome back to Becoming Natural. I am your host, Penny Sampler, and I am so glad that you are here. I have received some wonderful messages this week. It's been a great week from old friends that have found me and also from perfect strangers that I am thrilled that you're here. I don't advertise or do anything for this podcast. This was an accidental journey for me, and I'm absolutely thrilled that I'm doing it. So I am glad for anybody who is here or any sharing that you do for your friends, because I really just have a passion for helping someone through perhaps situations that might be severe like mine or less severe that just want to live a healthy life. So I am an occupational therapist, I'm a mom and a wife, and I have Crohn's disease, and I have for 30 years. And I am also someone who has thrown out more half-used bottles of body wash or bars of soap than I care to admit. Today, we're talking about something that might cause a stink, quite literally, and that is body soap. In any form, liquid or solid. So today's episode is 47, soap-free skincare, affordable, natural options that can actually work. Does anybody here remember that lavender-scented, creamy, lathery soap that I absolutely loved sniffing as I rocked my babies to sleep? I could sniff their little heads and they just smelled so good, and how clean and precious those babies were as I rocked them. I don't know about you, but I grew up in the late 70s and the early 80s on orange dial soap. No flavor options, just orange dial soap. Always. And I also have fond memories of that smell as well. I'm not just saying goodbye for crunchy vibes, but because I've learned what's actually in our soap and what it's actually doing to our skin, and why my body will be far happier than ever when I stop scrubbing it into oblivion. No one wants to stink or feel dirty. I'm not asking you to do that, especially after a hard workout where you sweated a lot, or being soaking dirty, as my middle son used to say when he was covered in mud from playing in the yard. But what truly gets our bodies clean, and clean the right way, without robbing our bodies of its natural sebum, or that layer of healthy oils and cholesterol that protects our immune system and helps balance our hormones. What soaps pull all the good oils from our sebum out of our bodies and strip us of the healthy, good skin barrier that God gave us, only to have to turn around and lather up in more lotion to restore the oils that we just removed completely unnecessarily. I don't think I am wrong to say that everyone listening to this podcast, you probably all use soap. And I mean, I'm pretty happy that you do. But I would also love to say I have quit using soap entirely, cold turkey, and I've not done that yet. I'm on my way, but I am weaning off soap. As much as it is a mental change for me, it's also a physical change. So it was just like when I kicked deodorant. I am shifting. However, as I examine ingredients, often using simply apple cider vinegar to clean myself with water, and experimenting with a variety of non-soap options, yet I still have good hygiene so people can actually stand next to me. But as I have a small reflection back to when I actually detoxed my body of my deodorant, it was rough. It was a rough 1 to 2 weeks as the aluminum detox from my body. I stunk. My armpits burned like fire-breathing dragons, like coming out of my armpits. But it wasn't because I wasn't properly applying deodorant. It was because I wasn't applying deodorant to keep the cycle going, to cover the stink that was created by the deodorant. So what a madhouse of a dilemma. Only then did I realize that the aluminum and the various other ingredients in my deodorants over the years were still in my body and actually the source of the stink. Who can make sense out of that? Can we say the same song 10th verse? Laundry soap and softener left in our clothes holds onto the stink in the fibers, creating that vicious cycle, which we resolved talking about this in the vinegar episode a few weeks ago. I have yet to discuss it, but when we clean our carpet, I have always been told don't use carpet cleaner with soap because the soap that remains in the carpet, because it always will, actually grabs and holds future dirt and will create another darker spot, completely defeating the entire purpose and effort of cleaning your carpet stains. The common denominator in our armpits, our skin, our laundry, and even carpet is soap. Who ever thought? And as I type this, I really think if you are going to kick soap, you just have to go hold turkey. Just like with the deodorant, our skin needs to detox the yuck. It's going to stink for a little while and we're going to get over it. But it's just like our armpits had to detox the yuck. But we're smarter now. We know ways to help ourselves. So let's dig in. If you've ever wondered, what's really in that bottle of body wash? And why does my skin still feel dry after I put lotion on it? What should I use instead to feel clean and balanced? And my favorite question, always, what is the history of soap and when did we start using it and why? Then, friend, if you've asked any of those questions, this episode is for you. So as I always love to start out, I like to take a deep dive into the history of what we're talking about. So let's talk about where soap came from, because I always think, did cavemen use soap? I don't know. So the best I could find is the ancient beginnings of soap is from 2800 to 1000 BC. Soap-like substances first appeared in Babylon, made from a simple mix of animal fats, wood, ashes, and water. How does that sound? But back then, soap wasn't used on skin. It was mostly for cleaning textiles or their clothes and fabrics. Egyptians, Greeks, and Romans around 1500 BC to 400 AD, they made alkaline pastes from oils and salts, and sometimes they were actually made for healing. And just so you know what alkaline is, that's the opposite of acidic. So there's a pH scale, 0 to 14. So 0 to 6.9 is considered acidic. So that would be something like vinegar, stomach acid, lemon juice. 7 is neutral, just pure water. And then 7.1 to 14 is considered alkaline or basic. And that would include something like baking soda, bleach, just something that is not acidic. So next we talk about the Greeks. They didn't wash with soap. They actually scraped the oil and the dirt off their skin using strigils, like wiggles, but it's spelled Strigils. So think like a metal squeegee. They're squeegeeing their body. Romans, they were all about their public baths, but again, they did not use soap. They used oils, they used heat, and the scraping, reserving soap mostly for their laundry. So to this point, nobody has used soap for their body. They only use it for their laundry and for their clothes. Fun fact, the word soap actually probably comes from Mount Sapo, S-A-P-O, where Romans sacrificed animals. Fat and ash mixed in the fire ran into the river below, and women noticed that their laundry came out cleaner. Can we say like divine laundry intervention there? But early soap making began around the 7th century AD. It was actually Arabic chemists who refined real soap. They created solid bars using plant oils and lye, and they added beautiful natural scents like rose and herbs. This was the first time soap actually became a personal hygiene product rather than just for laundry use. Medieval Europe, 500 to 1500 AD. Here's where it gets a little bit medieval, but bathing wasn't very popular. Some believed that dirt protected you from disease and from sin, but in places like Castile in Spain and Marseille in France, luxury soap made from olive oil was being produced, mostly for the wealthy. And by the 17 to 1800s in the industrial area, things shifted with the Industrial Revolution. Scientists discovered how to make lye from salt, and soap became widely accessible to anyone. In 1879, Procter & Gamble launched Ivory soap, 99 and 44, 100% pure. Procter & Gamble claimed that Ivory soap was free from impurities, which included dirt and extra chemicals, made only with clean ingredients like fat and alkali. And yes, at that time, many soaps, including things like animal tallow remnants, lye residues, or harsh additives, were in their products. So Ivory was mild by comparison, but that 99.44% number, it actually came from their lab tests that compared Ivory's ingredients to other soaps. The remaining 0.56% was a complete mystery blend of fragrance and trace residues. So they didn't really know what was in the rest of that, which you have no idea what residues or things were disguised as fragrances. So why did this all matter for them in marketing? Because in the late 1800s, cleanliness was actually tied to moral virtue, to godliness, to health and respectability. So saying a soap was pure gave it a kind of holy halo type attitude, and people trusted it blindly. And at the time, why wouldn't they trust it blindly? They didn't have any reason not to trust it. But it was still made with animal fats and alkaline lye, which is not exactly the gold standard for gentle skin today. A little note about lye. Lye, we hear, don't use lye in soap. That's not good for you. But lye is actually known as sodium hydroxide or potassium hydroxide. It is a super alkaline chemical used in traditional soap making. So on that pH scale that we talked about, lye is around 14, which is the very top, meaning it is extremely caustic and it's extremely corrosive. It actually breaks down fats and oils through a chemical reaction called saponification, S-A-P-O-N, saponification, which then turns them into soap. But on its own, it can actually burn right through your skin, eyes, tissue, even metal. It's literally used in drain cleaners now for melting hair and grease. So that's what people used to put on their bodies. How does that make you feel? So we'll just let that one sit for a second. But how it affects the body when it's not handled properly is with skin contact, lye can give you chemical burns, blisters, permanent scarring. Eye contact, severe damage, or even blindness. Inhalation, it can cause lung irritation, coughing, and throat burns. Ingestion, potentially fatal, causing internal tissue damage. But isn't lye in soap today? Yes. But here's the key. In properly made soap, lye is supposed to be neutralized. When soap is made correctly, it's lye plus oil, and that equals saponified soap with a little bit of glycerin in it. So once it's saponified, no lye should remain if the ratios are done properly. So in the final product of our soaps today, if it's done properly, the lye or the sodium hydroxide, which is NaOH, or potassium hydroxide, KOH, is still essential for making traditional soap. And I give you those little chemical names because you never know what you'll read on ingredients. But it is what allows the saponification to happen, to have that lye in there. So, like we said, the saponification is when the fat or the oil and the lye creates the soap, which is the cleansing agent, and the glycerin is a natural moisturizer. When this reaction is complete, then there should be no more lye left in the final bar, and that's why well-made soap is technically lye-free, even though lye was actually required in order to make it. So soaps labeled as Castile soap or goat milk soap, tallow soap, cold processed handmade soap, they're all made with lye. So don't think that there's no lye involved at all. It just gets transformed in the chemical reaction. Like flour and bread. You can't make it without it, but it's no longer flour once it's baked into the bread. So why does lye get such a bad rap? And it's basically because it's that really caustic and dangerous on its own, like I mentioned, but when you make it with the proper ratios, the lye should disappear and the soap should be safe. So fast forward to the world wars in the 20th century, when we're going back into the history here of soap, natural fats were scarce. So chemists created synthetic detergents. These were cheap. They were long-lasting, they were foamy, thanks to the sulfates in them, and they were packed with fragrance. They replaced traditional soap, but they also started damaging our skin, our hormones, and our microbiome, our ever-loving microbiome. No matter what part of the body we talk about, we want a good microbiome. So if something says it is lye-free on the label, it is probably not soap. It's required to have lye to become soap. It just disappears. It is likely Syndet bar, which is short for synthetic detergent. So these lye-free soaps are made with surfactants like sodium lauryl sulfate, or SLS for short, They have binders, thickeners, and foaming agents, fragrance chemicals. They're often sold as Dove beauty bars, glycerin-based clear soaps, or most drugstore and hotel soaps are all going to be these. So yes, you avoided the lie, but at the cost of loading your skin with potentially questionable chemicals instead. So the truth about soap, let's start with the disclaimer that I am not saying that all soap is evil, but most commercial body soaps, especially the ones that you find in those big box stores, contain ingredients that do more harm than good. And here are some of the worst offenders. Number one, sodium lauryl sulfate, SLS, or sodium laureth with ETH at the end, sulfate. These are foaming agents. They make that luxurious lather we all grew up loving, but they're also used in degreasers, like the kind that clean your garage floors. They strip your skin of its natural oils. They damage the skin barrier, which can lead to chronic dryness, eczema flare-ups, redness, irritation, premature aging. And let's just say that SLS is anything that foams. So that's in your toothpaste, it's in your soap, it's in your shampoo, anything that becomes sudsy. That is a big red flag. Number two, fragrance. Fragrance is a catch-all term for hidden chemicals, just like natural flavors in our food. Companies do not have to disclose what is in fragrance. So many fragrances include phthalates, benzene derivatives, and synthetic musk, which is actually linked to reproductive issues. And they aren't just irritating, they're endocrine disruptors. And a lot of this stems with what I'm on a mission to do is to get my thyroid working again because my endocrine system is messed up. That's why my thyroid's not working. So if they're endocrine disruptors, if I'm using something that is disrupting my hormones in my soap and in my shampoo and in my makeup and my lotion, I mean, it's just like layer upon layer upon layer of these endocrine disruptors we're using. No wonder we all have thyroid issues. So if they're an endocrine disruptor, it means that they mess with your hormones at a cellular level. We're going to go deeper on this in the next episode. Well, actually, a few episodes. So I'm going to keep it high level right here. But basically, anything with fragrance should be avoided. Bottom line, don't put anything on or in your body with a fragrance. Number three, parabens. They are used as preservatives. Parabens mimic estrogen in the body. Yes, parabens mimic estrogen in the body. Male or female, you're getting parabens and they are mimicking estrogen. They've been found in breast tissue samples and are linked also to hormone-sensitive cancers. Parabens are synthetic. Synthetic means fake. Synthetic preservatives used to stop the growth of mold, yeast, and bacteria, which sounds good, right? But here's the catch. Because they disrupt our endocrine system, they mimic that estrogen in the body and they can interfere with our hormone balance, even in the tiniest of doses. And they are everywhere. Parabens are everywhere. It's also become very much a marketing tool. If you've noticed, that says paraben free because everybody's on to the paraben wagon. So some common personal care products beyond soap that have parabens that add to all those layers are body lotions and moisturizers, shampoos, conditioners, body wash and soap, especially the liquid soap, facial cleansers, deodorants, shaving gels and creams, makeup, lip balms, sunscreens, toothpaste, mouthwash. Don't even get me started on baby wipes, feminine hygiene projects, anti-aging creams, fragrance blends, because they're, hiding parabens in that umbrella term. They're everywhere. This is why we have to look at every single thing we put on our body. It's absolutely nuts. So those darn parabens. Number four is triclosan. And we've talked about triclosan before as well because it is antibacterial. So this antibacterial additive has been banned in hand soaps, but it still shows up in some body washes. It disrupts thyroid function and it can breed antibiotic-resistant bacteria, which is one of the largest problems in hospitals. I work in a hospital and we are constantly worried about fighting antibiotic-resistant bacteria with our patients. Number five, alcohols and preservatives are found in many soaps, and they contain drying alcohols like ethanol or isopropyl alcohol. They're meant to kill bacteria, but they also strip away your natural oils and your microbiome. So what happens when we strip our natural oils from our skin? God designed our skin to produce sebum, a waxy, oily substance that protects, nourishes, and lubricates our skin. That sebum is part of our skin's acid mantle. mantle. It is a thin protective layer of natural oils, of sweat, of friendly bacteria. So when you use this harsh soap every single day, you strip that protective layer. Your skin panics and it either overproduces oil or it completely dries out. And so then you try to fix it with lotion, which may contain even more drying ingredients that get you in this vicious cycle of trying to dry your skin and dry it out. It's like trying to water a garden by first setting it on fire. There are clean alternatives to soap that still leave you feeling fresh. Let's be honest, though, we've been trained to associate that tight, squeaky clean feeling with being clean. In the same way, we've been taught that we need 99.9% bacteria-free skin in our lives. Need I remind you to jump back to the episode on antibacterial products, and only 1% of bacteria actually makes us sick. We don't need 100% of our body bacteria-free because there are actually good bacteria on our skin. We also don't need 100% of our body squeaky clean because there are good oils in our natural sebum. So when you hop out of the shower and you feel that need to immediately put on lotion, it usually means your acid mantle and natural oils have been stripped. The good news is there are plenty of ways to cleanse your skin naturally that I think you are absolutely going to love without lathering up in synthetic suds. These natural alternatives not only work, they help heal, balance, and restore. They are multitaskers because God made them that way. So I know you're wondering, okay, Penny, come on, if I stop using soap, what do I use instead? Don't worry, I've completely got you. But this week, I am going to actually change things up just a little bit for fun and see how this works. There are gentler ways to get clean, and some that I bet you already have in your kitchen, like oils and clays and honeys. They've been used for centuries. But instead of squeezing them all into this episode that's already getting long, I'm going to walk you through each one in bite-sized mini episodes over the next 5-6 days, and they're going to be short and sweet. So what I hope is that today's episode opened your eyes to what soap really is and what it's really doing to your skin, and take notice how you care for your body. But I didn't want to throw a ton of solutions at you all at once. Let's process this. Let's just sit in this moment and understand what is going on with our body and what soap is actually doing. Give you a chance to go look at your soaps, look at their ingredients. Maybe you have a great soap, but some of these solutions that I'm going to present to you are new to me as well. Some of them I've actually already been using. I'm always changing up what I do. I never use the same thing every night in a row, but they were worth taking a minute longer for each solution to understand and why and how to use them. So this week, starting tomorrow, I'm inviting you into a little soap-free journey with me. We're going to be dropping a special mini podcast series where I will share simple natural alternatives with some of my favorite gentle natural ways to cleanse your body without stripping your skin. We'll talk about different oils that truly define what oil cleansing is and means, honey masks and honey options, and how honey is actually connected to our blood flow, which increases healing in our body, clay powders, herbal pastes, and so many other ideas that will absolutely blow your mind. So make sure that you're subscribed and ready, because each one of these might just change your entire skincare game. All the while, uniquely created by God to multitask in our bodies. While one ingredient may cleanse, it may also help with, say, inflammation. Our skin is our largest organ in our body. It only makes sense that we treat it with the utmost of care. I cannot wait to share these solutions with you over the next 6 or 7 days. These mini pods will be short and sweet and informative. I will also try to pull together a printable at the end with solutions and recipes, if needed, for lack of a better term, on how to use each of these solutions. So I wanted to say also on that note that my website is still a major work in progress. I have an amazing website coming together. It's just a matter of time, Time, time. We've just moved into our renovated space, which is amazing. And I am actually broadcasting from my new office for the first podcast, which is still piled with boxes and papers. So as I get settled here, I am going to dive into perfecting my website. And on my website, not only will you be able to find each podcast, but I will also have a blog section where I will put all the printables and all the things that have spawned from each podcast, so that you can actually download them and print them and do whatever you want with them, just so that you have a printable resource. I like to print things. I like to have things where I can take notes. So I'm pretty excited about that, as well as a new store that is going to be on there that will link up to all the things that I have mentioned that will be in my show notes, I'm going to have all of those pulled over to a store so that you can automatically go to one location and find the things I have talked about. So, on that note, I am going to say this is going to be an amazing journey. So, I'm not even going to say goodbye because I'm going to be right back here tomorrow and the next day and the next with the remainder of this fun little mini podcast series. And I cannot wait to hear what you think. So, I'll see you soon. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you've enjoyed today's episode, hit that follow button, leave a 5-star review if you're so willing, and help spread the message of becoming natural by sharing it with a friend. Check out the resources in the show notes and join the email list to stay on top of all the latest and greatest happenings at Becoming Natural as we roll out exciting new things while we grow. Until next time, take those baby steps to a more natural life and always give yourself grace. Progress, not perfection, is the goal. See you next week.